Once upon a time, Frank Rodriguez and Angelina Morales simply blossomed together.
Marry me?
He's found someone that he can love and loves him. And he's finally going to have babies.
She was just beautiful, perfect bride. It was just a perfect day.
But into their perfect forever seeps a toxic evil.
It was just unusual as a crime, and especially chilling.
I can't even imagine being that cold-hearted.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. All his life, Frank Rodriguez has held fast unto one heartfelt dream: to have a family. And now the rock-solid religious man is delighted that his dream is finally coming true.
Frank seemed very happy. I had never seen him more happy.
He's just married his sweet soulmate, Angelina Morales.
Angelina in her wedding gown was just the perfect bride. She was just beautiful.
Angelina had struggled for years as a single mom until she met Frank. He's the love she's longed for and a father figure for her daughter, Jessica.
The wedding with Frank and Angelina felt like a new beginning.
The wedding, just everything that somebody would picture a wedding being comprised of. It was just a perfect day.
Ooh, all right. We're here.
Now a complete family, Angelina, Frank, and little Jessica start their new life together in Paso Robles, California. But just a few short months later, that life is shattered forever. At 3 a.m. on September 9th, 2000, a shaken Angelina calls 911. EMTs find Frank unresponsive. Sobbing, Angelina explains she had taken him to the emergency room 2 nights before.
He was complaining of just horrible, horrible stomach aches.
The ER doctor thought it was the flu or food poisoning. But less than 48 hours later, Frank's fighting for his life. It's a terrifying turn for a man who's finally found the happiness he sought since he was a little boy. Frank Rodriguez grows up the second of 6 children in the small town of Lincoln, Illinois. He's a tough kid, but he's also fun-loving and a peacemaker.
Frank was the leader. Frank was the leader of all of us. He was kind of the core of all of us kids.
He hated people fighting. He thought everyone should always just be happy and get along. That was kind of his philosophy in life.
While in the Navy, Frank develops a strong Christian faith. He marries his hometown sweetheart, but eventually, the marriage turns sour.
His first wife, she was kind of controlling.
She convinces him to leave the Navy, which he loved. But there's one dream he won't give up on.
Frank really wanted children. She did not seem to want children.
To add salt to the wounded marriage, Frank's wife has an affair and leaves him.
Affairs are a betrayal. Cheating hurts. So after someone has experienced a spouse who has been unfaithful, it becomes a little more difficult to trust. But at the same time, they also have a longing to find somebody who they can trust.
Heartbroken, but drawing strength from his faith, he joins the National Guard and gets assigned to an academy for wayward youth in San Luis Obispo. There, Frank discovers his true calling, helping kids his way.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm stupid and I don't understand my classwork.
We all brought to the Academy something special that we wanted to present to the kids. Frank brought religion.
He doesn't force it, but when he thinks they're open to it, he mentors the troubled kids about the healing power of faith.
We'll work on this together and it'll be fine, okay?
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
Angelina's childhood is a lot darker than Frank's. She grows up in Queens with an absent dad and a mother who works 2 jobs. Often babysat by relatives, she and her sister are preyed upon by a family member who regularly molests them.
This is the greatest tragedy that can happen to a young child. It sets them up to mistrust relationships for the rest of their lives.
Her innocence destroyed, she tries a desperate escape, attempting suicide several times.
She would regularly go down to the beach, and she would sit at the very edge of the jetty, hoping that a giant wave would come and sweep her away and drown her. And she would do that over and over and over again.
At a certain point, that little girl figured, I'm gonna have to save myself because no one else is here to help me.
Angelina vows not to let her traumatic past define her future. Seeking safety and structure, she joins the military. She meets a guy, gets married, has 2 daughters. For the first time, she's happy. Her life complete.
Parenthood is one of the great healers for so many people. You're saying, I love you, mommy's always gonna be here for you, I'll always protect you. And believe it or not, those words are then echoed, reflected inside your own head. So it functions as self-soothing.
It became, in her mind, the ideal home that she had always dreamed she would have.
Do you want some oranges too?
But her perfect life doesn't last. Her 1-year-old daughter, Brittany, dies in a terrible accident.
The baby had choked on a part of the pacifier that had broken off and gone down the baby's throat.
As often happens after a child's death, the marriage crumbles apart. Angelina clings even tighter to her other daughter, Jessica, and summons the strength to move on. In February 2000, she gets a job at the military academy where Frank works.
Are we getting this or not?
She notices the tall, good-looking guy with the sunny personality.
Frank was the type of person that everybody had to love. You just could not like Frank. Frank would come into a room and it was like you turn the lights on.
Give me 1 second.
And Frank is bowled over by his gorgeous new coworker.
She was very appealing. There was no doubt about that.
I'm always here, teacher. Here, bye-bye.
Charmed, he's ready to take one more chance on love. As they begin to date, he immediately falls hard for the single mom.
He loved the fact that Angelina had a daughter, and he really was happy to meet her, and he liked kids so much.
This was Frank's dream. The one thing he wanted in his previous marriage was parenthood. And now to have a possible instant family must have been very attractive to him.
But now that family is being ripped apart. Doctors thought he had the flu or food poisoning the night before. Now Frank has stopped breathing. Whatever's killing him, it's no ordinary illness.
Something was wrong. Something definitely was wrong.
Just months after a storybook wedding, Angelina Rodriguez calls 911 as her new husband, Frank, fights for his life. Now, despite their best efforts, EMTs have to break the news. They couldn't save him.
This must have been tragic. Can you imagine finding your husband dead on the floor? You're a newlywed. You have your life ahead of you, and he's dead.
Now she has to make the agonizing call to share the news with Frank's family.
Angelina called my mother first. And my mom she lost it. She just lost it.
I got right on the phone and asked what happened to him.
She said she took him to the hospital and the doctor said it was just stomach flu or something like that. And so sent him home.
The doctor prescribed rest and lots of fluid.
And so Angelina and her daughter Jessica make him soup and feed him soup every 4 hours.
Make you feel better.
Along with the sports drink to keep him hydrated.
But instead of improving, he's dead within 48 hours. The mystery deepens when the coroner can't figure out the cause of death. No identifiable disease, no apparent poisons.
The normal toxicology lab tests had turned out negative.
With no official cause of death, the investigation automatically transfers to homicide detectives. Before they can rule it a natural death, they have to talk to Angelina.
Yep, you wanna go inside?
When they do, they get a shock. She's convinced Frank was murdered. She believes one of the more troubled students at his new school may have killed him.
They had an issue in the hallway one day.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm just putting books in my locker. You can see my hall pass if you want.
Let me see. Did you make this?
No, I didn't make it. I'm not that talented.
Angelina said the students were putting some kind of a poison in his coffee.
See this?
We at the academy know that students are capable of doing something like that.
All right, making sure. All right, be good.
Could it have been a nasty school prank? Or did Frank push an angry teen too far and trigger a lethal reaction? There are hundreds of students at the school, and few of them are comfortable talking to police. Which one might have harmed Frank? And how? For now, there are no answers. But Angelina's certain something evil happened to Frank, just when they'd found love, at last. Earlier that year, Frank and Angelina had fallen for each other in a whirlwind romance. They each offer the other qualities they've desperately longed for in a partner.
Angelina didn't even know stability until she met Frank. Here was a guy who could be a provider, and he could care for them and protect them.
And with Angelina's love, his years of loneliness fade quickly into the past.
Frank wanted a family. He wanted someone that he could love, someone that could love him for who he was, someone that he could have children with. And he saw that in Angelina.
He told my mother that Angelina was his soulmate, that she was Christian like he was, that maybe they could have kids together. He thought she was really the perfect person for him.
Young Jessica adores her new father figure, and Angelina is thrilled with Frank's devotion to both her and her daughter.
Look, let's face it, finding love and a good commitment-oriented guy when you're a single mother is pretty tough. Lovers are not always happy to take on the baggage that comes with dating parents. But she finally found the guy who said he would sign up for this.
As the couple grows closer, she opens up about the pain of losing her younger daughter, Brittany, who choked on a broken pacifier as a baby.
Really don't understand.
Though Angelina received a settlement from the manufacturer, it was little comfort for the unimaginable loss.
Frank was a good consoler. So when Angelina showed him her grieving, her depression related to the loss of her baby, Frank was there to care for her emotionally and help her through that.
Let's pray.
Angelina appreciated Frank all the time, and Frank was just overwhelmed with the attention that he got from Angelina and from the daughter also, and he was just blossom around him. He just thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
And in his arms, Angelina feels safe at last. During their month-long courtship, Frank lands his dream teaching job at a public school in Montebello, California. He'll have to resign from the military academy and move. While out on a double date with another couple, Frank breaks the news about his move. Angelina's devastated. She's been abandoned so many times before.
Come on, how can you just leave me? You and I mean, come on, I thought we had something.
And I'm taking the job. Just simple as that.
But then he reveals his hope for a life change even bigger than a move.
You kidding? Well, come on, what do you mean I'm coming? What?
Well, you are. I hope so. Angelina, would you
Oh my God.
marry me?
Oh my God. Yes.
She'll marry him, and she and Jessica will go with him to Montebello.
Frank's horse had finally come in. He finally won the race. He was gonna have the loving wife, he was gonna have the family, and just everything was finally going Frank's way.
Now, that life he'd hoped for is gone forever. LA County Sheriff's detectives continue investigating the theory Frank was poisoned by one of his troubled students. They interview faculty at Frank's new school in Montebello to ask if any of the kids nursed a hateful grudge against Frank. Co-workers agree many of the students are rough, even dangerous, but no one can imagine even the worst of them hurting this beloved teacher.
I'm sorry, I was thinking like a jerk back at my locker. Sorry, I didn't mean it.
The students wouldn't violently strike out at Frank because Frank was so accommodating to the students.
That's all right.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here for, okay? If you need me, see you in class. Be a good boy, all right?
Detectives speak to Angelina again, hoping she can help ID anyone else with a possible motive for killing Frank. And she delivers up a name. Just days before his death, Frank visited the military academy where he used to work. She explains that day, a former co-worker confronted him. Angelina says Frank had accused the teacher, Lenny Tate, of inappropriate behavior with the students. Tate was furious.
What are you talking about? I don't want any trouble. Well, maybe I do.
Had Tate slipped him some kind of poison that day? Angelina believes he did. Now investigators think they have a solid motive at last. But in this case, the grief and the questions are just beginning. In Southern California, new groom Frank Rodriguez has died after a sudden and mysterious illness. His wife Angelina believes he was murdered. She thinks one of Frank's former colleagues, Lenny Tate, poisoned him. She tells police Tate hated Frank for accusing him of improper contact with students. Detectives go to question Tate at the military academy, where Frank used to work. They need to know, is this the man who has robbed the couple of their happy future? Just 6 months earlier, that future was looking picture perfect for Frank and Angelina. Now engaged, they're absolutely inseparable and very happy.
At the beginning of a relationship, it is probably the biggest high that you can have outside of heroin. Life is wonderful, it's joyful, you're in love, your brain is being hit by this dopamine rush of love chemicals.
Rush of love, yes. But sex is on hold.
I don't think we should. I don't think we should yet. We're not married yet.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Frank's faith is everything to him, and he's committed to living without sin. So he wants to hold off until after the wedding. Angelina agrees to wait. It'll be worth it. Though it's only been a month, they want to get married right away. Frank is disappointed his family won't be able to attend the wedding on such short notice. Still, he and Angelina look forward to a ceremony that's simple but perfect. It will have a blue and white theme. She'll wear a classic white dress, and Frank a sharp tux.
So handsome.
I do?
Yes, this is definitely the right tux.
I look like $1 million, don't I?
It's perfect.
At the time, Frank's so happy about the upcoming ceremony. He could never have known the next church ceremony would be his own funeral. Angelina's daughter, Jessica, is especially crushed by the loss.
When he was laying there at the wake, she put a teddy bear next to him. She put a ring on his finger. She was a sweet little girl. And I felt sorry for her.
It's a heartbreaking day for everyone. Why did such a beautiful romance have to end so tragically? And how did Frank die? On the way home from the funeral, Angelina tells the family she's convinced he was murdered.
I think someone poisoned him.
I asked Angelina, how do you poison someone?
Turns out there are a lot of poisons that are easy to get and don't show up on normal toxicology tests.
Angelina said, well, you can make a tea out of oleander, and then she pointed out the window of the limousine as we were riding along. There are all kinds of bushes that line the highway there, and they're oleander bushes. And she said, those are those flowers there.
You can make a tea out of them.
Oleander is very common in Los Angeles. It's used very commonly in landscaping, and so it just is sort of a common household shrub.
Did Lenny Tate, the angry ex-co-worker at the academy, use this commonplace flower to kill Frank by slipping it into his coffee? Detectives order specialized tests for oleander on samples of Frank's tissue and grill Tate with a series of tough questions, hoping to get a confession out of him.
Angelina was very convincing in convincing local law enforcement that something had happened to Frank when he was up there.
Well, you have been mentioned as somebody that might have an axe to grind with Frank.
But Tate vehemently denies having any problems with Frank. He swears they were still close friends. He turns the allegations back on Angelina, saying she was the one who accused him of impropriety, not Frank. and she had absolutely no evidence. He says Angelina pushed all Frank's friends away. But isn't that normal in a new romance?
Every new couple goes through a cocooning phase, and all the friends kind of get mad because they're not seeing them anymore, because you need to kind of have a lot of private time to build intimacy.
With no confession and no physical evidence, there's nothing to tie Lenny Tate or anyone else directly to Frank's death. Then the additional toxicology report comes in, and investigators are floored. Frank's body does test positive for oleander. But the report says oleander is not the murder weapon.
And the coroner couldn't find enough oleander to justify the death. It wasn't a high enough quantity in his system.
Some people believe that in small doses, oleander has medicinal qualities, boosting the immune system and reducing muscle cramps. Is that why Frank has trace amounts in his body? Every time police think they have a hot lead, it shrivels up and wilts away. But Angelina and her daughter deserve answers. Police will have to unlock even deeper secrets to uncover the truth behind this toxic tale.
Well, you have been mentioned as somebody that might have an axe to grind with Frank. Is there any truth to that?
After the mysterious death of Frank Rodriguez, chief suspect Lenny Tate insists he was visiting a nearby youth camp the day Frank's wife, Angelina, claims he poisoned Frank.
The staff member that Angelina accused of killing Frank had a very tight alibi.
And detectives are able to confirm that alibi. He was not at the academy on the day of Frank's visit.
There was no way that that person was even around Frank and could not have poisoned Frank in the manner that she said.
The allegations that Tate behaved improperly with students? Completely false. And that fight with Frank never happened. They have to cross Tate off the suspect list.
That is what really threw the first doubt in their mind that, you know what, maybe we need to look closer to home.
Angelina had mentioned oleander, but oleander didn't kill Frank. And anyway, why would a murderer tell the cops her weapon of choice? So who did it? And how? Then several weeks into the investigation, Angelina calls police and tells them about a bizarre phone call she just got. She says an anonymous caller gave her the name of the poison that was used to kill Frank.
And she called saying that he had been killed with antifreeze.
Antifreeze? It's true that because it's so rarely found in people, it wouldn't come up on routine toxicology tests. Detectives order additional tests, looking specifically for antifreeze. While they wait for the results, they dig deeper into Frank and Angelina's past. And they discover that just 5 months before, on the big day, Frank expresses some last-minute doubts to his good friend, Rich.
The day of the wedding, we were in the back of the church.
Frank confesses he isn't completely sure about Angelina.
I was very surprised. That's the first time I've ever heard him ask somebody, do you think I'm doing the right thing?
Listen, you can walk out.
I mentioned to him that, Frank, we can walk out of here right now if you're uncomfortable.
Just pray with me, will you? All right, let's pray. Sure, let's pray. All right.
And he was asking God's guidance on whether he should marry Angelina or not. And he needed a sign for it.
Tell me that she's the right woman for me. Give me a signal.
And as soon as we got through with the prayer,
come in.
That's when Angelina came in the room and gave him a watch.
It's bad luck to see her before the wedding, but she says she just couldn't wait.
And I could see his eyes just, watered up. When she left the room, he says, "I'm doing the right thing." And he considered that a sign.
Now Frank is dead, and nobody knows why or how. Until the latest test results come through. His tissues test positive for antifreeze, just like Angelina's anonymous caller told her it would. In fact, he has more than 5 times a lethal dose.
The coroner, in his report, had said that there was so much antifreeze that they found evidence of it in Frank's eyes.
Angelina was right. Frank was murdered. And it would have been a slow, excruciating death as the toxic liquid slowly crystallized inside his body. The cops finally know what killed Frank. Now what they need to find out is who gave him that lethal dose. As police delve deeper, they learn Angelina and Frank's brief marriage was a troubled one. Prior to their wedding, they abstained from sex for religious reasons. But that didn't change after they vowed to love each other forever.
So ready?
I'm not ready.
Mom told me that there was no honeymoon and there was no kissy-kissy.
Frank believed that this woman, once she got to the altar with him, would turn into the perfect wife. But 5 months into it, she still hadn't consummated the relationship with him. His dreams were being dashed by the minute.
Can I sleep with you?
No.
Angelina even had the audacity to make Frank sleep in a separate bed. On weekends, she often took her daughter Jessica to visit the girl's biological father, leaving her devoted newlywed husband alone for days.
Angelina was manipulating him. She knew the kind of guy Frank was and how much he'd put up with. And clearly he'd put up with a lot.
Was this a case of a new wife with a chilly libido? Or had Angelina lured Frank into a loveless marriage just to kill him? Friends report Angelina had actually talked about getting rid of Frank for his insurance money. Assuming it was a joke, they discussed how to kill your husband.
And her friend thinks she's kidding and says, well, you could always poison him with oleander. And Angelina's like, what are you talking about? Her friend explains that oleander is the stuff that grows on the side of the highway. One of her friends says, or you could use those antifreeze-soaked hot dogs like they did with those dogs in some other story that they'd heard about. And Angelina says, but why would dogs eat hot dogs if they have antifreeze in them? And the friend said, well, because it tastes sweet.
Oh my gosh.
It's sweet, all right. Like the sports drink Angelina served her husband on doctor's orders the night before he died. Detectives learn Angelina encouraged Frank to get life insurance just after the wedding. And she filed a claim a few short hours after his death.
Angelina tried to collect his life insurance and was told they could not do it unless they had the certificate of death. And the medical examiner was not producing it, you see?
She needed an official cause of death to get her precious insurance money, but the medical examiner couldn't find one. Police believe that's why she told them about the oleander and made up the story of the anonymous call about antifreeze. She was trying to give them the cause of death she desperately needed on that certificate. Then police discover a sickening new twist. This is not the first time Angelina has been in a position to cash in on a suspicious life insurance policy. Detectives are stunned to learn she took out a $50,000 policy on her baby Brittany just weeks before the child died. Then settled a lawsuit against the pacifier company for a fat $750,000. She used her share to buy a house, a fancy car, a boat, and plastic surgery.
It does seem very strange for a mother to use a settlement of her baby's death for plastic surgery. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, grief is strange, but that's really strange.
It's a monstrous thought. Could Angelina really have suffocated her own baby girl with a pacifier just for some fast cash? Although they only have circumstantial evidence in Frank's death, LA County Sheriff's detectives go to arrest Angelina Rodriguez on February 7th, 2001.
The investigators went to Angelina. They told her that she was under arrest for the murder of Frank.
No!
She just dropped to the floor. She could not believe that she was being arrested. She did not see it coming.
She completely denies any involvement in her husband's mysterious death, but she does admit she lied about it. And now, she's finally ready to tell the truth.
Angelina,
Detectives, how can I help you today?
you're under arrest for the murder of Frank Rodriguez.
Los Angeles County detectives believe Angelina Rodriguez killed her new husband Frank using a combination of oleander and antifreeze poisoning. Then Angelina surprises them with a new crazy claim. She says the real story is that Frank actually killed himself by drinking antifreeze.
She seemed insistent that he committed suicide because she had asked for a divorce and that he was devastated by that news, and so that he was trying to kill himself.
She made up the murder story because suicide would nullify the insurance policy, leaving her and her daughter penniless.
We need the money, Jessica.
Detectives don't believe a single word of her story. As prosecutors prepare for trial, they discover Angelina's been having an affair with an ex-con on the weekends she supposedly took Jessica to see her father. And poor Frank was waiting all this time for his new wife to be intimate.
Frank was not aware of any of that going on all that time that they were married for the 5-6 months.
Frank was so looking forward to having a baby with Angelina. Yet friends say she'd had an operation years before to keep her from having more kids. And she never told Frank.
Angelina clearly does not live up to her name. She's no angel. She's a two-faced black widow.
In jail, Angelina hires another inmate to kill a witness against her, one of the friends she talked to about antifreeze poisoning.
She was very angry, and she wanted that person taken care of.
The inmate agrees to set up the hit to look like a suicide, then tells the cops. Detectives convince Angelina's friend, now a star witness, to fake her own death.
The investigators brought a makeup artist with them and had her look as if she had been killed, took a photo of it as if it were a real crime scene photo.
An undercover officer shows the photo to Angelina, taping the conversation. Satisfied, she arranges payment for the hit, all on tape, to be played at her trial. October 2003, Angelina's capital murder trial begins. It's a purely circumstantial case, since they never found antifreeze or oleander inside the Rodriguez home. The witness she tried to have killed testifies that Angelina sometimes made special milkshakes for Frank that no one else was allowed to taste. The tainted shakes sent him to the hospital with violent stabbing pains in his stomach. She then delivered the fatal dose of antifreeze in the sports drink the doctors prescribed.
When you slowly poison someone, you have to be able to stand there and watch them suffer day by day as they slowly die by your hand. That's a cold, callous person.
One of the upsetting things that came out during the trial was that the final drink that Angelina gave to Frank while he was sick in bed, dying basically, she gave the drink to her daughter, Jessica, to carry into Frank.
Make you feel better.
So this poor child was the person who gave Frank this, the last dose that basically killed him.
It's an unimaginable betrayal for this little girl. Poor young Jessica, to lose a beloved baby sister, then learn her mother killed the man she had grown to love. After Angelina is arrested, Jessica goes to live with her biological father and tries to put the pieces of her life back together. On October 29th, 2003, the jury finds Angelina Rodriguez guilty of first-degree murder and attempting to dissuade a witness.
And it is the coldest killing I've ever seen. Over the past 20 years, I've never seen a colder heart.
She married him for the insurance money, for $250,000, and I know there's people out there that do that, but I didn't think it would happen to my family, to my brother.
That you shall be put to death within the walls of the California State Prison at San Quentin.
Angelina Rodriguez is sentenced to death. Although investigators are convinced she killed her baby daughter, and prosecutors bring it up in court, she has yet to be charged. After all, she's already on death row.
In a way, I was happy that Angelina got what she deserved. It was a very sad moment because it just brought right back to home that, you know what, we didn't have Frank in our lives anymore, that Frank wasn't with us anymore.
I could never forgive her for what she did. Ever. He deserved better. He deserved better than what he got. In the end, he just wanted to be loved.